Listen carefully, for what I am about to say is the dividing line between those who realize their dreams and those who fall back into despair. When you set your mind upon a goal, when you dare to assume its fulfillment, you have planted a seed in consciousness. But many, having planted this seed, grow impatient. They dig it up to see if it has sprouted. They look for signs with anxious eyes, and when they see none, they declare the law false. I tell you, you must learn to wait in confident expectation. For all manifestation requires a gestation period. It unfolds in its own perfect order. No farmer plants a seed and curses the soil for not delivering fruit overnight. He knows there is an appointed time for every harvest. So too must you trust the process. Your assumption, once accepted by the subconscious, begins to move beneath the surface. Invisible currents of events start to flow. People shift. Opportunities emerge. Circumstances rearrange. But these movements are often hidden from your sight. This is why you must not judge by appearances. What seems static or hopeless is, in truth, being reshaped at levels unseen. Do not be fooled by delay. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. Your role is to maintain the assumption without wavering, to feel the reality of the wish fulfilled even when every sense cries out it is false. That is faith. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. You must persist until that inner conviction becomes so dominant that nothing can shake it. Then, in ways you could never foresee, the outer world conforms. Many abandon their assumption because they expect instantaneous change. When it does not appear at once, they return to the old state. They react to the 3D world as if it holds the power. But the 3D world is only a reflection. It is the outpicturing of your previous assumptions. It has no creative power of its own. If you accept the present circumstances as final, you freeze them in place. But if you refuse to accept them, if you hold fast to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will transform them. This is the test. Can you remain unmoved by appearances? Can you see lack and feel abundance? Can you see rejection and feel chosen? Can you see illness and feel health? If you can, you will prove the law. You must remember that the subconscious accepts what you persist in assuming, not what you hope once weakly, but what you dwell in repeatedly with feeling. This is why the discipline of imagination is essential. You must practice entering the state of the wish fulfilled until it becomes your natural dwelling place. Do not measure the time. Do not ask, how long will it take? That is, to plant doubt. Time is the servant of assumption, not its master. Every seed has its appointed hour. Trust the law to bring it forth in perfect order. Let us speak of the temptation to give up. It will come. It always comes when appearances seem most stubborn. When everything contradicts your assumption, you will hear the inner voice saying, "It is foolish, give up." But this is precisely when you must hold firm. For you stand at the threshold of manifestation. The darkest hour is just before dawn. Many fail because they turn back at this point. They abandon their new state and return to the old. And so they recreate the very conditions they sought to escape. But you will not do this. You will remain faithful. You will refuse to accept the evidence of the senses if it denies your assumption. For what you feel as true within must be objectified without. You are not here to be at the mercy of circumstance. You are here to master it. by mastering your inner state. If you feel discouraged, remember this: the universe is already at work. Your assumption has been accepted. It is moving all things necessary into place. You may not see it yet, but the movement is real. It is happening now. Your only task is to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to rest in the confidence that it is done. For in that rest lies the power. You must also learn to revise. If during your day you reacted in fear or doubt, do not let it stand. Before sleep, replay the scene as you wished it had been. Feel it changed. This is the act of spiritual cleansing. It removes the seeds of unwanted states before they can grow. It purifies your inner world. In this way, you keep your assumption pure. You prevent the old state from reclaiming its hold. Persistence is not force. It is quiet certainty. It is knowing so completely that you no longer need to beg or strive. You simply assume it is done and live as though it were. This is why I say, live from the end. Speak from the end. Think from the end. Feel from the end. If you truly do this, there is no power on earth that can prevent the manifestation. The world will reorganize itself to match your assumption. People will play their parts. Events will unfold. Paths will clear. And it will seem natural, inevitable. So I tell you now, do not give up. Hold fast. Be patient. Trust the law. Circumstances may look unchanged. They may even seem worse for a time. But this is merely the rearrangement, the shifting of the old to make way for the new. When you remain faithful, you become the master of your fate. You no longer plead with life. You command it silently through your assumptions. You will discover that what you assumed, though invisible at first, was always nearer than you believed. You will marvel at how quickly it arrived once you stopped doubting. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, let your last thought be of your wish fulfilled. Feel it real. Rest in that feeling. And tomorrow, live in quiet confidence. No need to tell others or seek approval. Your assumption is your secret. Your covenant with the unseen. Persist. Revise when needed. Return always to the end. And truly know, that what you desire is rushing to you even now. For your world has no choice but to mirror the truth you dare to assume. This is the promise. This is the law. This is your birthright. Now let me tell you something that few dare to believe, but once you understand it, it will liberate you. Even what appears to be failure is a bridge to fulfillment. Yes, even that thing which seems to be the very opposite of your desire, that event, that conversation, that delay it too, can be part of the unfolding. You see, your assumption has already set things in motion. Once planted, the seed cannot help but grow. But the path it takes may involve uprooting old patterns, rearranging relationships, dissolving things that no longer serve you. This is why it may feel like chaos at first. But what is chaos to the senses is order to the soul. Hold steady. Your only task is to persist in the end. Do not ask, why is this happening? Ask instead, how would I feel if I knew this too was helping me? And feel from that place. That is the advanced use of imagination. To bless even the seeming obstacle. To assume the divine orchestration of all things. Now, let's speak of your inner conversations. They are far more important than you've been taught. They shape the world around you. If throughout your day you speak to yourself as though your desire has not yet come, you undo your inner work. You must discipline the voice within. Speak as one who already is, already has, already knows. And if you falter, do not despair, revise. Reimagine the scene. Feel it differently. Replace it with what you wish had happened. This is the holy work, the sacred art of assumption. You are not here to be ruled by facts. You are here to create them. There is a reason we say, live from the end. It is not merely to soothe yourself with fantasy, it is to select the state from which reality must now arise. Every state already exists. You do not create the state, you occupy it. You step into it with feeling. You make it your dwelling. And when it becomes your inner home, the outer world conforms. You may think, but nothing has changed. That is because you are still looking outside for confirmation. But the only real confirmation is your own conviction. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the operant power. Once you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the outer must echo it. There is no other law. Now hear this well. You do not need to feel perfect faith 24 hours a day. You only need to return to it more often than you leave it. You only need to identify more with your desired state than with your old one. And each time you return, you build momentum. The bridge of incidents forms. The invisible becomes visible. The world responds to your shift in identity. You need not beg, nor plead, nor manipulate. You need only assume and persist. That word persist is the cornerstone of this law. Those who persist win, because they do not give up when things are silent. They remain loyal to their unseen reality. They understand the silence is not absence. It is construction. And when the work is complete, manifestation appears, sudden and sure. So let us settle in, and let me speak clearly to the heart that is growing tired, because you have every right to feel that weariness. You have dared to believe. You have worked in imagination. You have persisted in assuming that which seems so far from you. And now you stand in a space that feels like nothing at all, a silent void, a quiet where nothing seems to move, where circumstances appear unchanged, or even worse. And in that silence, the doubts begin to whisper. Is this real? Does any of this work? Have I lied to myself? Should I just give up? Listen to me now. That moment of stillness and doubt is the most critical in all creation. It is the narrow passage through which your new reality must pass. For you see, the world outside must take time to rearrange itself. It cannot instantaneously leap from one configuration to another without movement in between. Though your assumption is instantaneous, the expression of it in the world requires a bridge of incidents. A series of events, conversations, chance meetings, opportunities, endings, and beginnings, all carefully woven together. And these threads must be gathered in silence. They are woven when you are not watching. This is the reason you must not judge by appearances, because what you see now is only the echo of past assumptions. It is the fading image of your old state, and it will continue to fade if you refuse to return to it. But if you let your attention dwell on it, if you declare it final, if you say, it hasn't changed, so it never will, then you claim it again. You give it new life. Understand this. The outer world cannot help but conform to your inner state. but it must have time to do so. It must be given the freedom to reshape. And you, as the operant power, must grant it that freedom by staying faithful. This faith is not passive. It is not idle waiting. It is an active inner stance. It is the decision, over and over, to dwell in the end, to feel the wish fulfilled, to refuse the old testimony of the senses. Your senses will lie. They will insist nothing has changed, but they can only report the past. They cannot show you the present movement beneath the surface, and they cannot reveal the future fulfillment that is already contained within your assumption. This is why I urge you, when you feel discouraged, return to the state, return to the feeling, return to the end. Say to yourself, if it were true right now, how would I feel? How would I think? How would I speak to others? And be that person, even for a moment, even for the length of a single breath. For every time you do, you reinforce the new state. You impress it deeper upon the subconscious. You build the structure in the unseen. And the subconscious does not forget. It does not sleep. It is always working, always rearranging the outer world to match your inner conviction. But it must be convinced. It must be impressed with the reality of your assumption. And it is only impressed through feeling, through repetition, through your refusal to abandon the state. Now hear this. You do not need perfect faith without wavering. You only need persistence greater than your resistance. You only need to return to the end more often than you fall back into the old. You will doubt. You will falter. You will have moments when the old fears roar back. Do not condemn yourself for this. Do not despair. Do not say, I have ruined it. Instead, gently return, again and again and again. For that is the secret of mastery, not perfection, but persistence. Let us speak of the so-called silence, the gap between assumption and manifestation. This silence is not empty. It is filled with movement. Invisible arrangements are being made. People you have not yet met are being moved. Paths you do not yet see are being cleared. Events you cannot predict are being set in motion. Your job is not to micromanage this process. Your job is not to decide how it will happen. Your job is to assume the end and rest in it, to live as though it were already so. And in the fullness of time, in a way so natural, you will barely notice the miracle the manifestation will appear. And you will say, of course, this is exactly how it had to happen. It will seem inevitable, obvious, perfect. But to reach that moment, you must cross this one, the moment when nothing seems to happen, when everything tempts you to quit, when the world whispers, see, I told you so. It was just a dream. Do not listen. Do not believe the world. Believe only in your assumption. It alone has creative power. The world is a servant. It can only obey the command you give it in imagination. And the command is given through assumption, through feeling, through acceptance that it is already so. So when you feel tired, rest, but do not quit. When you feel doubt, acknowledge it, and then return to the state. When you see no evidence, rejoice, for the old is falling away. When it feels hardest, remember, you are closest. The old reality is screaming its last defiance before dissolving. Hold steady. Hold true. Persist. And know, truly know, that what you have claimed in imagination is already yours. It cannot be taken. It cannot be denied. It can only be delayed, and even that delay is in your service, preparing you, preparing the world. So let your final thought tonight be, it is done. It is mine. I am that which I have assumed. And let your final feeling be one of quiet certainty, of relief, of gratitude, for in that feeling you seal the work. And as you sleep, the subconscious will continue to mold reality. And tomorrow, you will wake in a world that is already bending to your new state. Even if you cannot yet see it, know it is true. Feel it real, and live in that truth. Because the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. It always does. It always will.